they'll always use linguistic coverage to protect Islam. So it's Islamism.
Yes.
It's radical Islam. It's radical.
Don't you agree with that?
No. If I can hijack both your cognitive and emotional systems, you become a wood cricket, which we could talk about what that reference is if you want.
What's a wood cricket?
Check out this brilliant clip over it with Gad Saad on Joe Rogan talking about the Iranian ideology, which will not go away with just declaring an end to the war. We'll watch this clip together, then talk about it, but first hit subscribe in the corner. We'd love to stay in touch. This is absolutely insane. Take a look.
So the wood cricket is an insect that abhors water. It wants nothing to do with water. But when it is parasitized by a neuroparasite called the hairworm,
Oh, I've seen this.
right? The
Yeah.
hairworm needs the wood cricket to happily and merrily commit suicide by jumping into the water, because that's the only way that the hairworm can complete its reproductive cycle. So once the hairworm hijacks the wood cricket's ability to think and to invoke its survival instinct, it erases its survival instinct, then it is owned by the hairworm. And so I use that principle to explain suicidal empathy.
Yeah, we've actually shown videos of that. It's very strange.
It's amazing.
The cricket really commits suicide. It jumps in the water, drowns, and the worm wiggles out of its body.
Exactly.
And that's how it's born.
Exactly. And
There's so many cases of that in nature.
indeed.
Yeah.
And so the way that I originally had the epiphany to use the parasitological framework. So parasitology is it's just a study of host-parasite interactions. So a tapeworm is a parasite, but that parasitizes my intestinal tract. But a subfield of parasitology is neuroparasitology. Those are the parasites that need to go into your brain, altering your circuitry to suit their interests.
Including ideas.
And that's how I came up with the parasitic
Yeah.
ideas of the parasitic mind. But in order to fully tell the story, I then had to say, but a lot of the mechanisms by which people seem to be completely hijacked in terms of their ability to think critically is really coming from an affective place. And so how can I explain that? And so what I argue in the book, and then we can drill down to endless examples if you want, I'm not saying that empathy is a bad thing. Because even though the book is just dropping, there's already been maybe 10 articles that have been hit pieces against the book, which of course it means people haven't read it yet, where they say, here comes the dark Jew who is trying to promulgate the idea that empathy is a bad thing. He's a neocon right-wing guy, an Elon guy, a Donald Trump guy. I'm not saying that empathy is bad. Empathy is actually a very important virtue to have. In order for you and I to have a meaningful conversation, I need to put myself in your mind and vice versa. That's called cognitive empathy, right? Theory of mind is something that typically autistic children fail on very early in life. That's how you diagnose them as being autistic. So there's nothing wrong with well-modulated empathy. The problem with empathy, like most things in life, is if there's too little or too much of it. Aristotle explained this to us thousands of years ago via his golden mean. If a soldier is not courageous enough, if he's cowardly, it's not good. If he's too courageous, he becomes a reckless martyr. That's not good. There's a sweet spot in the middle. I argue empathy follows exactly that rule. Too little of it, you're a psychopath. Too much of it, if it's hyperactive, if it is invoked in the wrong situations, toward the wrong targets, you end up with suicidal empathy. The Republicans are to some extent suicidally empathetic, because if you watch even the ones who very forcefully criticize Islam as being incongruent with, American values, they'll always use linguistic coverage to protect Islam. So it's Islamism.
Yes.
It's radical Islam. It's
Don't you agree with that?
No.
No?
Not at all. So political Islam and Islamism is a indelible, inherent feature of Islam. Much of Islam is Islamism. So if you do a content analysis of all of the canonical texts of Islam, which are the Quran, the Hadith, the deeds and the sayings of Muhammad, and the Sirah, which is the biography of Muhammad, you could do a quantitative analysis of how often is it preaching brotherly love, how often is it really concerned about the infidels, and so Islam in its nature is political. Why? There are many reasons why, but let me just give you one. And then if you want to drill down, we can do so. Islam is a fully proselytizing religion, meaning that it is incumbent in an ideal world to turn the entire world into the one true faith. It is a peaceful religion, if by peaceful it means the following. Eventually, the entire globe, every millimeter of the globe, will be united under the unifying flag of Allah. Now, let's take, for example, Judaism. And it's not because I'm Jewish, but it's just to compare. Judaism is precisely the opposite. It is an anti-proselytizing language. You're not allowed to proselytize. As a matter of fact, if you proselytize, let's say I try to convince you, Joe, why don't you join the tribe? And you say, you know what, I think I'd like to.
It's a grind.
It's a grind, exactly.
It's a long haul. My uncle did it.
Well, there you go. Thank you. So it is literally in the canons of Judaism to try to dissuade the prospective convert to coming into the fold, because the idea is to have a costly signal of your commitment, your religious piety, to want to join the group. So it is a grind. It's very hard. In Islam, you just have to say the one proclamation, the Shahada, one sentence, and you're in. Now, try to get out. There are apostasy laws against you getting out. So the circuitry of Islam is one that is expansionist. That's why you have 2 billion Muslims. 1 out of every 4 human beings is Muslim. And it only took 1,400 years for that. So from a marketing perspective, as someone who studies consumer behavior, Islam is a brilliant marketing religion. It has found a way to get a lot of customers and adherents. Judaism sucks at marketing because the entire circuitry of Judaism is meant to keep it very, very small. And so which one is likely to lead to greater problems? The one that is meant to ensure that all of us become Muslim, or the one that says, even if your uncle wants to become Jewish, we're going to put the barrier so high that nobody will ever become Jewish? So we still have only 15 million Jews, roughly, in the world, almost the same as we had before the Holocaust. So Judaism sucks as a marketing religion, Islam incredibly successful.
So who is becoming the wood cricket? Who is committing suicide from empathy? You see, we see this mentality across America today. People empathizing with the victims of their own terror. People who terrorize the Jewish people and then claim that they are the victims. This distortion of reality, this misplaced mercy. In fact, the Rambam says exactly what God said in the beginning, that a person should strive to be on the straight path of not having extreme mercy or extreme apathy. But yet, the Jewish people have survived and returned despite not fighting wars against anybody. And only when they come back to their land are they once again persecuted, but not because they're Jewish, but because they are fulfilling the prophecy in Tanakh. We say that Shaul could not bring himself to kill Agag, the Amalek who is coming up against the Jewish people. So do I think this war is over? Do I think Iran is going to one day just stop wanting to finalize their message, their mission, to bring their final redemption? I don't think so. So this war, from a biblical sense, from a prophecy sense, is just the beginning. Thank you for watching. Please comment, leave your messages. I'd love to read them. Like this video if you liked it, share it, and let's keep in touch. Shalom from the holy city of Beit Shemesh.